Hi, everybody. It's Sunday in Australia. Now, I'm a bit calmer than I was the other day when I did that emergency video for you. I was so distraught. All that work and then two senior prosecutors resigning because Alvin Bragg's going, don't know if we've got enough of a case. What was that about? And it's all gone quiet. Suspicious. But I'm not going near it today. I have just this minute come off a collaboration with Milou. Many of you will know Milou, Milou. So that video will be put up probably later today. And we talked extensively about the Ukraine. So I thought what I'd do is tell you briefly what came out of that. And then there were other questions that it raised, which is what I'll read on now, right? So we'll get to Ukraine in a moment. But I just wanted to say, sometimes amazing things happen and they just go under the radar because we're bombarded with so much stuff, morning, noon, and night. I read, please let me know that I didn't dream this. I think I read that a school in Texas, in reaction to these repressive anti-gay LGBTQ laws, an entire school, every student announced they were gay as a protest. I love that so much, just brilliant, brilliant. Okay, so now, things that Milou and I discussed, and he is a psychic, clairvoyant, and I did cards, was basically the sanctions aren't going to work because they never work, but they will have the effect, of course, of driving Russia into more cryptocurrencies, and also like the sanctions on Iran. Iran deals with petrodollars and dealing with Chinese yen. And because Russia and China have a long history, that's not the worst thing for Russia from Putin's perspective. It'll make the Russian people suffer, but not Putin and the oligarchs. We thought that Putin is not well. Now, of the people who I follow in my everyday life, most of the readers you're familiar with, this is not news. Putin's not well, right? So that's another thing. Also, that already the calculations indicate there may be 4 million Ukrainian refugees in Europe. Now, the last thing the world needs is another 4 million displaced people. And although Germany and I think France and Italy have come forward saying they will take refugees, it's very difficult for them at home politically when you do this. But refugees deserve humanity, if nothing else. So there will be that. I'd like to personally say how amazing are the Russian protesters. Over 2,000 now have been arrested for protesting this war. You have to be very, very brave to do that in Russia. But here's the thing. Things aren't going so swimmingly for Putin. I think he thought he has 190,000 troops now. And Ukraine has a very small army. They're prepared to fight to the death, as they've proved over and over already this week. Snake Island, that story is amazing. And the young Ukrainian who blew up a bridge knowing he would die in that process, but to stop the tanks. What I think is happening is he's got all these troops, nearly 200,000 troops. But how old are the troops, right? They're 19 to 22, by and large. Some are older, but most are in that group. And most 19 and 20-year-olds, they're not so sold on the old idea of a war, right? And this week already, on Thursday, a Russian platoon surrendered already to Ukrainian personnel. And the young Russian soldiers said, we didn't know we were coming to the Ukraine to kill Ukrainians. I'll leave that with you for a moment to digest. I don't know what the hell they thought they were doing, but they didn't think it was killing Ukrainians. And I don't know that they're really up to it. So I'm going to have a little look at that. Let's have a look now. So despite his ability, he could obliterate Ukraine in a nanosecond. It's not going as well as he hoped. Let's look. Because they could try and suppress that news, but in the modern world, you can't completely suppress it. What was Putin's reaction to the Russian platoon? The surrender of Russian soldiers. Oh, there he is as the emperor. Oh my God. He doesn't understand what happened. Okay. Here he is literally as the emperor or the Tsar or whatever it is he wants to be. There he is. This he sees, because he sees everything as personal, he sees this as a personal betrayal. He'll dress it up as a betrayal to Mother Russia, but he sees it as a personal betrayal. He thought he had his ducks in the row. He'd been talking to people to organize this massive assault on a neighboring country. He assumed they were mercenaries. They're getting paid to join the army and there's not many other jobs in Russia, etc., etc. He expected them to do the job. And this has presented him with a dilemma. This, symbolically, this is huge. Symbolically, like day 3 or something, a Russian, how many people are in a platoon? A lot. Surrendered. Oh my God. So this has thrown him into a real dilemma. All right. So now I got thinking, and when I was talking to Milu, if you've got all these 20 and 22-year-old soldiers, their mothers are only 45, 48, probably 50 max. In other words, they're women who are not prepared to do what women have traditionally been asked to do. So whether it was World War I or World War II or something, you know, women saw off their husbands and their sons and their nephews and their cousins to fight the good fight for king and queen and country and republic or whatever. I don't know that a 45-year-old Russian mother is really willing to do that. And so I want to look at Russian mothers, the mothers of the soldiers. The Russian mothers of the Russian soldiers. I think part of what's confusing for these young ones, they've been brought up side by side with Ukraine. If they paid attention in their history class, they would know that it was part of the old empire, but now many Russian speakers live in Ukraine. There's a degree of intermarriage, family connections. So they're not really understanding it. So let's see about the mothers. Yeah. Russian mothers. That's the thing as you get older, isn't it, viewers? Police, doctors, and soldiers get younger. It's one of life's mysteries. Okay, The Russian mothers, yeah, well, I'm not surprised. Look, I seriously think they're going to become an entity in themselves. Your boy's on the front line. What are you going to be doing? You're going to be distressed and awake at night. You're not convinced of the agenda that you've been told automatically. Many of them who would have joined the Russian army a year or 2, 3 years ago probably didn't assume they'd see active service in this old-fashioned blood and guts way. So they're not impressed with the agenda. They're very emotional about this. This is directly under this card. Their distress. This is their tears, literally. They don't want their sons, grandsons, and nephews to be cannon fodder, to be the mercenaries for this conflict. They will start banding together themselves. Here's the Three of Pentacles again. People working. The thing with Putin, who's notoriously paranoid, and we seem to think unwell, you can spread propaganda far and wide, put fertilizer on it, do a lot of damage, but you know what? You can't fool the mothers. You can't fool the mothers. Watch this space. I think they will become a force to be reckoned with. So the remaining question I wanted to deal with today was, since that weird trip to Moscow, whenever it was, probably 4 years ago now, remember when 12 GOPites or something went to Moscow? Then we had the NRA funneling Russian money. We had the Trumps, plural, their unique relationship with Russia. You've got Cossack Carlson on state TV in Russia. You've had Pompeo. What was going on with that? Right? So the question now is, where is the GOP, most of whom I'm assuming are still old guard, even the old Mitch McConnells and stuff. These guys all came of age in the Cold War, including Biden, and the GOP anti-Russia until the last 5 minutes, and suddenly all this pro-Russia stuff. So how's this going to play in the GOP heartland? How is Russia's invasion going to play in the old guard of the GOP heartland? GOP heartland in Russia. What do they think about it? Or do they think at all? Who would know? Oh, all that shuffling, the Emperor. Here's what I think from these cards. I think they still have that latent sense of Russia as the bogeyman. If you're over 60, you grew up with Russia in this particular way, and no amount of social media now is going to shift it. So they're still suspicious of the power of Russia, even if they don't remember why, right? This goes back the Bay of Pigs and all of that stuff, right? The history in America of the relationship with Russia, the space race, all of that is deeply embedded. A bit of fence sitting here with Temperance. I think they're feeling that they're hearing this stuff that they never thought they'd hear in their lifetimes, and now they're hearing it every day on their devious and delinquent sites. They're a bit confused, so they're hedging their bets for now. But here's the thing. these two cards, defense and attack, they're not entirely convinced by this new spin. It's happening very quickly and will continue to happen, and the images will not be good of Russia's behavior in Ukraine. I'd go as far as to say this isn't going to be the decisive issue, but it's reinforcing the fracture between the Liz Cheney old school conservatives and the new totally vicious, self-serving, deluded modern wing of the GOP, the hard, nutty right. I think it's another wedge issue. Often they can work together because they don't care about ideology really, but there's something symbolic that is going to cause a further schism here. All right, my darlings. Well, in other news, I did a wonderful collaboration yesterday with Shining Hawk, and she had Johnny, Sienna, and myself on, and we had a lovely rave. If you want the deep Ukrainian stuff, go to my video with Milu. May not be up quite yet, but Shining Hawk was yesterday, and we shot the breeze about a lot of other issues. We didn't talk about Ukraine and stuff. So they were more just esoteric issues in life. We talked about a lot of things over the best part of 2 hours. So you've got plenty to be going on with. So check those all out, and I'll see you very soon. Thanks for coming. Bye.